This isn't right now. You got to make this pick and then stick with it for the season, into those late season games in October, playoff games. There's some young guys in there and some older guys in McCallum and Prefontaine. Results at the half. And that poll was sparked by the performance of a guy by the name of Sandro De Angelis. 2 weeks ago, Montreal was at Calgary. 48 seconds left on the clock. De Angelis kicks a 52-yarder to tie the game. Montreal can't get a first down. They can't kill the clock. Calgary gets the ball back, and then he kicks a 53-yarder to win it. He showed up last season. His name is Sandro, which I think is Italian for money.
Snap. It's held forward. De Angelis kicks it. It's going. It's going. It's...
The face of a kicker. It often appears withdrawn, nervous. But not this face. The face of Sandro De Angelis shows energy and joy as he tries to shatter our conventional view of kickers.
And look at De Angelis. He's taking us to the room. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. We're going home. Let's take him to the room.
Say you have gold, silver, and bronze, then wood, then there's dirt. Usually kicker is in the dirt area of the football culture. I didn't make it up. It's been that way for 100 years. Do I agree with it? Heck no.
He's got a lot of personality, and that's something that you don't find a lot of kickers have. He's good for the locker room. He's good for a laugh every 35 seconds, and the guys respect him.
To Sandro, it doesn't matter if you're laughing with him or at him. How else could you explain this dance?
I really didn't know what he was doing. If you guys consider that dancing, it wasn't dancing to me.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to give other people a good laugh. So, if I can dance and if people can enjoy that and get a kick out of that and say that De Angelis is a funny guy, by all means.
But once people start laughing at you, it's hard to get them to stop. For weeks, a secret teammate has toyed with Sandro, continually shredding his underwear. He's dubbed him the Underwear Demon.
The Underwear Demon's killing me.
every game he gets his underwear shredded.
He's torn up about 7 or 8 pairs of underwear, and I buy them for like $8 a pop.
And he's getting mad now to the point where he's threatened our entire team.
First time was funny, second time was funny, third time, okay, now it's just getting old. Come on now.
He's threatened the whole entire team that he's going to throw a cinder block through the windshields of all of the cars in the parking lot.
Come on, we got to fight fire with fire. I just want a pair of underwear. Is that too much to ask for?
As the CFL's top-rated kicker, De Angelis has earned some slack, but not according to some. Recently, Sandro's dancing was challenged by Dan Levitard on Pardon the Interruption.
He shouldn't dance at weddings. He shouldn't dance when drunk. Not a good dancer.
Here's the deal. This guy, that was his second field goal of more than 50 yards in the final minute.
I don't care. I think it's absolutely ridiculous for somebody to say that a kicker shouldn't dance or shouldn't jump around after he made a kick. Obviously, the person who said that's never felt the euphoria of kicking a game-winning kick.
As a kicker, there's only one certainty. You will eventually miss. And to offset the stress of that reality, De Angelis resorts to laughter, a counterbalance for the intense world of kicking. It's an attitude that fuels his success.
If he wasn't that way, he wouldn't be making the kicks that he does.
Life's too short to be serious all the time. You gotta smile and smell the roses along the way and have a good time, because if you take this job too seriously, it'll eat you alive.
You gotta love his attitude. He's good for the game right now, but really, have any of you guys ever seen 2 50-yarders at home with the game on the line in the last minute?
No, never. I never have. This kid, Dave, you're absolutely right. He is money. And money in more ways than one. I think why his teammates are so drawn to him is because he's humble. And he does have a humble personality and approach to the game. Sandro De Angelis is working his way up from dirt to wood to bronze to silver, and he was gold the other night. Sandro De Angelis is an exceptional kicker with an exceptional personality, Dave.
Well, you know what? Hey, I just want to talk about kickers generally for a second and say that it's not just Sandro that's kicking the lights out. It's kickers across this league. And, when you actually look and compare what kickers are doing this year compared to last year, it's remarkable. I mean, here are the top 3 in 2005 as compared to the top 3 this year. The top 3 guys this year are all in the 90% range. And Sandro, believe it or not, is down at 83%. So he's not even in the top 3, and look what he's done so far. I think this is good on the entire league. I think that when kickers are kicking well, it unifies the entire football team and elevates everybody's play.
Well, there's been a lot of talk, guys, about offensive lack of production, and if it hadn't been for the kickers, could you imagine how the talk would be then?
Right.
Oh,
They've been money this year.
A lot of the scores we've seen were halftime scores of 2 or 3 years ago. But let's quickly switch gears here and talk about two very high-profile personnel changes on the field for the Stamps in their linebacking core. You've got George White and John Grace, the reigning defensive player on the year, currently on the sidelines for injury reasons, perhaps. Have they been beaten out? What's going on there?
Well, you know, I live in Calgary, and, you know, I hear all the reports and every day, and it's astonishing because we're talking about some athletes that flat out have been getting it done since 2000, both of George White and John Grace. Now, Khalid Abdullah and Cornelius Anthony, the two linebackers that are going to replace them, now, they're no slouches. These guys can flat out play. Otherwise, Denny Crehan, defensive coordinator for the Stampeders, wouldn't be making these bold moves. And they are bold guys, in my opinion, because you're talking about the 2005 runner-up to most valuable defensive player. Last year, most valuable defensive player. George White led the league in tackles last year with 136 total. They're talking about some quality football players that they're being benched right now.
Well, Matty, really surprising to me, but the only thing I can really conclude is their grades must not be at a level that's acceptable for Calgary Stampeder football, because players get graded after every game. And if you grade out 90% and you win the game, that is like football nirvana. Now, if you grade out very well, but you lose the game, you know what? You really don't feel that bad because you have some sense of security. But if you lose and you grade poor, like you're in the 80, 70, 60%, then there is an issue about what you are like and whether you're contributing directly to winning or losing. So that's the only conclusion I can make.
Yeah, well, there's no question. When you read the clippings and you don't know what goes on in the coaching room. You don't know exactly what's going on in their heads.
I know what's going on in that defensive room.
You know that they're not happy with the play of those two guys, and you also know those two guys are making a lot of money.
That's the bottom line. You hit the nail on the head right there, Jock. It's about money.
And, you know, but to me, if you're making that kind of money and you're not performing on the football field, you should be benched. And then give it an opportunity to work yourself back in the lineup. John Grace in the past has been criticized for being undisciplined on the football field. And I played with him. He flies around, and sometimes he doesn't do his assignment. But you've got to rein him in sometimes and give him some direction. This just might do it.
What about
67th straight sellout here at Molson Stadium on the campus at McGill University. Fans have been rocking. They start early here. They start the party early, and considering what's been going on in Montreal with their football team, they want to be in a good mood at the end of the game. Weather is perfect tonight. Absolutely perfect. Beautiful night for football.
Tom Higgins, head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, has a 5-4 record, but he's got his team on a bit of a roll, winning their last two games, one versus Montreal.
And Don Matthews, hard to believe, 7-0 and has lost 2 straight. And that win still sticking in the minds of Damon Duvall and the Alouettes by the Calgary Stampeders 2 weeks ago that ended the unbeaten hopes of the Alouettes. We are underway here in Montreal tonight. J.R. Ruffin is back for the Alouettes, and the specialty team coming out strong here, but Ruffin brings the Stampeders up to the 39-yard line.
Calgary Stampeders, led by Henry Burris at quarterback, has completed just under 60% of his passes this year. The starting tailback is Joffrey Reynolds. He leads the Canadian Football League with 823 yards so far this season. Solid receiving core. The strengths are at the slot back position. Jermaine Copeland and Nick Lewis inside, combined for 6 touchdowns. And there's your offensive line. John Comiskey is the center.
Our starting lineup's brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. In the shotgun, Henry Burris. And a quick hitter attempt for Nick Lewis. And incomplete first pass from number 1.
The defense for the Montreal Alouettes, led up front on the defensive line by Anwar Stewart, has 3 sacks on the season and 1 interception so far. Tim Strickland and Dwayne Butler, 2 quick linebackers off the edge that can get home in a hurry, and a secondary has Davis Sanchez back on the corner on that wide side.
Davis Sanchez back. Lamont Brightful not in the lineup tonight for Don Matthews. Throwing down again, 2nd and 10 for Burris. Pump fake, still on his feet. Down the sideline, and another incomplete pass, this time for Elijah Thurman. And so now Burke Dales will come out, and a quick 2 and out for the Calgary Stampeders.
Davis Sanchez made it very difficult for Elijah Thurman on the sideline. You see him getting up physical across that sideline, working back towards him in perfect position. That would have been a very tough catch for Thurman, and a lot of pressure in those first 2 downs from the Montreal defense.
Dales is back at his 25. Avon Coburn back for the Montreal Alouettes in their double blue uniforms here tonight. There's Coburn. It has not been the year of the return in the Canadian Football League. Look out on the rush here. Dales gets it away. Coburn quickly tries to find a seam, does not. Piled on there, the 46-yard line, and here comes birthday boy Anthony Calvillo. Celebrated his birthday yesterday, number 34.
A good birthday present would be to eliminate turnovers for Anthony Calvillo, who had 5 versus the Toronto Argonauts, 5 interceptions before he was pulled. He always bounced back. There is his receiving core. Look for Ben Cahoon to have a big night at that inside position. An offensive line, arguably the best in the Canadian Football League. Brian Chew is the center there.
Talked with Marcel Belfait before the game, the receivers coach with the Alouettes. He said they want to get Cahoon into the game early, not later as they saw last week. Hardly used him against the Toronto Argonauts, and they're going to establish number 47 too. Big Robert Edwards. Here's the Calgary D.
Changes in that Calgary defensive front 7, not in the defensive line. That will still be Demetrius Maxey, Raheem Abdullah, Sheldon Napustek. But in the linebacking core, Khalid Abdullah replaces George White, and John Grace is out for Cornelius Anthony. Big changes in that linebacking core for the Calgary Stampeders. The secondary remains the same.
Calvillo now, 2nd and 6 yards to go. 5 interceptions last week, takes off this time and bowls forward, and it looks like he'll have the first down.
So those are big changes for the Calgary Stampeders on defense, to have 2 veterans in John Grace and George White left home, healthy enough to play, although they are both nicked. Cornelius Anthony has been good since training camp, and Khalid Abdullah will take George White's spot.
Khalid Abdullah, the brother of Raheem Abdullah. Surprising, though, because at the beginning of the year, if you look at all the linebacking cores in the league, you look at this foursome, and everybody would say that, you know, look at the portfolios of these guys, the resumes, it's a first down. They're all-stars.
And both veteran players and both all-stars. George White led the Canadian Football League in tackles a year ago, and have put together some pretty good stats this year. Remember, George White's coming off of a serious Achilles injury. John Grace has had some problems with groin injuries throughout this season. Denny Crehan, the defensive coordinator, told me before the game they are both a little nicked and not running as smooth as they normally do, and that's one of the reasons.
Calvillo, quick toss over the middle, and just like Marcel Belfait said, he's going to try to establish Ben Cahoon early.
We'll see if Anthony Calvillo can take advantage of these young linebackers, and it's going to be Ben Cahoon a bunch, because Ben Cahoon lines up at the inside receiver position, so he's going to be the guy that's going to be working on the linebackers for the most part here tonight. So we'll see if he can take advantage of some inexperience there.
One of the reasons that George White not playing tonight, a couple of weeks ago, he also got shredded by Terrence Edwards in the middle, and that spelled a trip to the sideline for the veteran linebacker. Terrence Edwards is in the lineup, by the way, tonight for the Alouettes. No Kerry Watkins, and that's a big miss for Montreal. Ben Cahoon only a couple of catches last week against the Argonauts.
Yeah, I think that is going to change in a big way tonight. I watched practice yesterday, and because of the short week for the Alouettes, it was a real practice, not just a walkthrough. And Ben Cahoon probably caught 15 balls in practice. And I went and asked him, he said, yeah, sometimes it works that way and it doesn't work in the game. And I think based on the defense he will see, we'll see a lot of Ben Cahoon.
Just became a new daddy again last week. Calvillo, big rush to the end zone, and unable to run underneath it is O'Neal Wilson, who was the favorite target a week ago against Toronto for Anthony Calvillo.
Calvillo, when he broke outside, he saw O'Neal Wilson get in behind Tony Tiller by a step, but he would have had to drop that ball right in the bucket, and he was on the move. A difficult throw to make.
So Damon Duvall is going to try a field goal here. It's going to come from the 49-yard line. His longest this season is from the 47. 26 of 31, ranked 2nd in points and in field goal kicking in the Canadian Football League. Right behind the guy of the Calgary Stampeders, Sandro DeAngelis. And this kick is up. is good. The Alouettes start first, strike first, 3-0.
It was my first time buying a home.
There were stacks and stacks of paperwork.
When it's your first house, you don't know what the process is like.
And the first thing we did was call a realtor.
Buying a home, use the experience of a realtor. Only realtors have access to the multiple listing service. Listings are online at MLS.ca.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet, and by General Motors of Canada and all its divisions.
Damon Duvall starts the scoring. 49-yard field goal. Marcus Howell and J.R. Ruffin back for the Calgary Stampeders to take another kick from Duvall. It will go to Ruffin again from his 10. He's brought down at the 30-yard line and might tonight come down to the men with the big feet.
Well, Sandro DeAngelis is on a roll. He's 52 and 53-yarder versus Montreal to end their winning streak, sitting at 83.3%. Anytime you're over 80% as a kicker, that's outstanding. Sandro DeAngelis has missed just one field goal inside of 40 yards, that a 29-yarder. And Damon Duvall had some bumps early on, but he's been on a roll of late as well. And these two teams play it tight. It may come down to the kickers tonight.
As they did a couple of weeks ago, and it came down to Duvall in the final couple of minutes with two 50-yard plus field goals. What a year for Sandro DeAngelis. Play action, Burris rolls to his right, looks for Kenyon Rambo and has him.
Davis Sanchez and Kenyon Rambo doing the one-on-one. Sanchez couldn't have covered it any better, and Kenyon Rambo and Elijah Thurman are going to have to work for everything they get. Here's the matchup out of a tight end formation. The corner comes in. He's basically lined up about 6 yards deep and 8 yards behind him. Davis Sanchez just behind the linebacker on the outside that I circled, but he's right in position.
First carry tonight for Joffrey Reynolds, the CFL's leading rusher. Has 15 yards.
Calgary Stampeders calling the plays on the line of scrimmage to try and establish some tempo and maybe keep Montreal out of some of their complicated blitz schemes.
Joffrey Reynolds just 58 yards against the Owls 2 weeks ago, 15 there. First and 10 from the 45-yard line of Montreal. Reynolds again, bursting outside. Reynolds finds some room and got a whole lot out of nothing at the beginning.
Calgary's going with a tight end formation on the last two plays, and that will extend the line of scrimmage for Joffrey Reynolds. So now rather than have holes, take a look at now, he's got some more holes to run through because they've extended the line with extra tight ends. Now he doesn't like the middle, so he bounces to the outside, gets the corner, and picks up pretty good yards on first down.
Second down, 2 yards to go. Burris is in the shotgun. And he goes deep to the end zone. It flutters, and it's incomplete. Rambo wants a flag and does not get it. Kind of a jump ball up there. And we've seen a lot of fluttering passes so far this year.
Well, and we see Henry Burris get up limping after that throw. He knows he'd like it back because he had Rambo open, but the ball did sail on him. It got out of his hand in an awkward position, and he also took a bit of a hit as he was delivering the football. Tight end formation. Dwayne Butler steps up into the line. It wasn't him. You can see coming down low is Ed Fillion. Crawls right to the knee of Henry Burris.
Ed Fillion has nicked a few quarterbacks in his time. Now DeAngelis to answer Duvall. Keeping with the theme, but look at this. A little play action trickery here from the Stampeders. Wes Cates almost to the end zone. He is. Touchdown. Razzle dazzle. Talk about a gadget play. Just when they thought it was going to be a field goal by DeAngelis, it's a touchdown for Wes Cates.
Perfect call for Tom Higgins, because everyone talking about Sandro DeAngelis and how effective he's been and how money he's been. So Wes Cates runs the fake. He lines up as a wing back to the left side of the formation like he's going to block. Then he comes underneath, takes a direct snap, and completely fools the Montreal Alouettes and Don Matthews. What a call by Tom Higgins. Perfect timing and well executed.
Cates just getting the pylon on the goal line. Talk about tomfoolery. The gadget play works. Fake field goal, shovel to Cates, touchdown. The Stampeders find the end zone first.
There he is right here. Now what he's going to do is come underneath the formation and then hit it up in here. Watch how successful this is for the Calgary Stampeders. There goes Wes Cates underneath. He takes that flick from the holder, Brett Ralph, and underneath he goes and right to the corner of the end zone and just gets that cone.
Ineligible receiver, BC on number 25. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay the down.
They are saying it's an ineligible receiver. Hang on a second. They got the wrong team, too. Of course, being Calgary. And they are saying that Cates is ineligible.
He's on the end of the line of scrimmage, and he has an eligible number. Here he is right here. This is Cates right at the very end of the line of scrimmage. He has an eligible number at 25. He goes in motion, catches a forward pass. That's a forward pass from Brett Ralph, the holder. Even though it's underhand, it's considered a forward pass.
There was a lot of confusion here, Glenn Suter. But the teams are coming out on the field, and Burke Dales is coming out to boot it away. There doesn't seem to be a lot of discussion from the Stampeders in protest. So a trick play that got tricked up. Don Matthews and the Alouettes get a break here. 3rd down and 13 and out of field goal range. So Dales will angle. Whoa, and almost had it blocked and may have seen a piece of that football get tipped. Out of bounds. We'll sort this out when we come back to Montreal. Still 3-0 Alouettes. By referee Glenn Johnson, and the officiating crew here goes for naught for the Stampeders. Alouettes get the ball back from their 10. Calvillo, quick strike. Guess who? Ben Cahoon again, already as many catches as he had last week in the entire game against Toronto.
Montreal Alouettes dodge a bullet there. Apparently, Wes Cates did not register with the officials on the special teams as an eligible receiver and therefore wasn't eligible, according to the reports we're getting here upstairs. And that's why that play was called back.
At the beginning, it looked like it was all right. Not so. And again, not much of a protest from the Stampeders sideline.
No, they didn't. And there was 7 on the line of scrimmage, which is what was required. And Wes Cates come from basically a running back or a slot back position outside, so he looked like he would be eligible, but on a field goal, apparently he did not go to the officials and register on the special teams to make his number an eligible number.
That's how far the Alouettes have here. Does not look like they're going to go after this, being pinned so close to their goalpost. So Damon Duvall will come out here and kick the ball away again.
This interesting turn of events here has caused this crowd to basically just go completely silent. They can I guess they feel like their team has dodged a bullet big time, but still has bad field position.
And that's a good thing to do, though, if you're a visiting team. Keep them quiet. Roughed up. Chip Cox down there. And let's go to the sidelines and join Brent Wallace with us tonight. Brent.
All right, Rod, thanks very much. Well, everybody knows Ottawa wants back in the CFL. And one of the three groups, the president is with me here, Jeff Hunt, who's also the owner of the Ottawa 67s. Jeff, what is the latest with the bid process and where do we stand?
Well, as you know, there's a process, and on September 11th, there's certain things that have to be into the CFL for them to start to make a more serious evaluation of the three groups.
What is, I guess, the best part of your bid, and where is it that you separate yourselves from them?
Well, hopefully the fact that I've run a successful franchise, albeit a hockey franchise in Ottawa for the last 8 years, and we have a front office very similar to many CFL front offices. So we're in a position where we're ready to go anytime, and we already have a proven track record.
Jeff, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Wes Cates, who had a touchdown nullified, says, you know, I'm going to try to get another. And that was a big play again from Henry Burris to Cates. The Stampeders move the football back down near the red zone.
Well, he is eligible out of the backfield on offense.
Yeah.
25 is an eligible number. However, there must have been an eligible number on the line of scrimmage from one of the linemen, which put him ineligible. It can get confusing, but...
Stampeders now trying to get that touchdown back. Burris slant. Trying to one-hand it was Jermaine Copeland, the former Alouette. When he was here, that receiving core with Copeland and Cahoon, Cavill.
There's a flag on the backside of this play, Rod, and there was some contact made on Elijah Thurman, and Ricky Bell were basically going at it. See if it was thrown in error, or they were just breaking up what was a bit of a scuffle. Nick Lewis also involved back
Major
there.
foul, unnecessary roughness, Montreal number 7.
Yeah, it was
15-yard penalty, first down.
So that doesn't help. Alouettes have taken some penalties in the last few weeks that haven't exactly been penalties that have been high on the intelligence scale, and that one wasn't certainly. Now in the red zone, Stampeders, Burris, look out to the end zone. Oh, almost. Copeland wants a flag, and he gets it. There are flags on the far side on the goal line. Former Alouette complains, but the flag was already in the air.
You know, a couple of these slant patterns from the Calgary Stampeders, I thought that the Montreal Alouettes secondary have become awful close to pass interference. And in that they know what's going to happen, the quarterback has to get rid of it quickly on that slant, but they've been pretty physical with the right arm
Montreal
underneath.
41.
That time Clint Kent got his hands on him. See, and that right hand on the back of Copeland will be called, especially when the ball's in the air and it affects the receiver. And there's the pressure that Henry Burris is facing this time from Ricky Bell off the edge. He's got to get rid of the football. Those DBs have been a little too close.
First and goal now. Reynolds in the backfield. And will he punch it in this time? Yes, he does. Touchdown at Calgary.
Some kind of drive here, Rod, for the Calgary Stampeders. You would think that having that fake field goal called back would take the wind out of their sails and maybe change the momentum, but it hasn't at all. Burkdale's with a nice punt. The defense gets a 2-and-out, and just like that, the Calgary Stampeders cross the goal line.
4 plays, 56 yards, third touchdown of the year for Joffrey Reynolds. And if it was quiet a few minutes ago, it's like a library in here right now. A silent Molson Stadium, and the Stampeders do put it in the end zone. Offensively, 7-3. Alouettes, can they continue that momentum? It's in high definition tomorrow night.
Well, we knew we'd see two top running backs in the Canadian Football League here tonight. Joffrey Reynolds came in as the #1 back, and Robert Edwards, #3 from Montreal.
Avon Coburn tries the middle. Wrestled down. Brian Clark is there, and Anthony Calvillo trying to get his team now to the house. down 7-3.
He hasn't thrown the turnovers. He hasn't thrown the interceptions in the first couple of series. That's the good news. Anthony Calvillo coming off a game that he just isn't very used to. He hasn't had many games in his CFL career where he's thrown 5 interceptions.
Boys in the studio were talking about their worst games, and Calvillo, certainly that was his worst last week. He was really anxious to get back on the horse, as he called it, this week. Put that behind him, a race last week. In the flat, the quick hitter. And Terrence Edwards drops the football. Montreal gets it back. Terrence Edwards starting this week as O'Neal Wilson was there, playing in place of Kerry Watkins. Edwards is the brother of Robert Edwards, the running back.
Calvillo keeps the drive alive. I mentioned that 5 interceptions, something that he is not used to. There it is. His entire career, 1 time, 5 interceptions for Calvillo. 4 times, once he's thrown 4 interceptions. Look at that, though. That's the number you want. Right? That's the big one. 0 interceptions, 57 games, more than anything else. 1 interception, no big deal. That can bounce off a finger.
His first 8 games this year, he had 4 interceptions. He now has 9 after the 5 last week. Expect him to try to protect the football here tonight.
What a throw.
Ben Cahoon again and down to the 35. And that was a bullet from Anthony Calvillo.
He threads the needle here. He didn't have a lot of room, Anthony Calvillo, to get this football to Ben Cahoon. But again, this is going to be Ben Cahoon going to go inside to where those linebackers are. Look at the little throwing lane that Anthony Calvillo has. He puts it right on the money, and clutch. Ben Cahoon catches it the first time.
2-time most outstanding Canadian in the CFL. 3 catches. Again, only 2 last week in that big loss against the Argos. Calvillo takes it himself. Quick slide there for 5 yards.
Watched Calvillo in practice and had a nice conversation with him after the game, or after his bad week. And he has had a short week, so not a lot of time to prepare, but in practice yesterday, he was throwing darts. I mean, in practice before the game, it's usually a 3/4 speed, kind of half walkthrough, but because it was a short week for the Alouettes, they went out and practiced hard. They actually did some drills and some hurry-up offense, and Calvillo was throwing lasers. You could tell that 5 interception game was weighing heavy on him.
4 for 5 so far tonight for 55 yards. Throwing again. Pressure on, steps out of the pocket. Byron Anderson has the first down. And that's something they did not do last week against Toronto. When Calvillo was in trouble, he tried to force it further down the field and never went for those quick screens, the little slants and cross patterns in front. Couldn't find his receivers.
And that often is a result of protection breakdowns, where you have a defender in your face as the quarterback, makes it tougher. But right now, Calvillo looks like he's had time to throw the football.
4 receivers to his right. Looks right. Looks deep. But overthrows Dave Stella. And there is a flag on the play. It's in the backfield. Brian Clark may have got a little too close to Anthony Calvillo as he attempted to deliver that football.
Yeah, Brian Clark was in the linebacking core, and he kind of comes on a delayed blitz. He's going to come around this way, and when he does, I think he can get out of the way after that ball is thrown, and he steps in with his right shoulder anyway. And that's just a bad decision by a veteran football player, Brian Clark.
So interesting. The Stampeders score their touchdown, get it close to the goal line thanks to a bad penalty. Undisciplined penalty down there, and Brian Clark hitting Anthony Calvillo keeps the Alouettes drive alive here. 2 minutes and 17 seconds left in the first quarter. Alouettes are awfully good in the red zone. To the end zone, to the sideline. Once again for Ben Cahoon.
Almost made the one-hand catch on the outside.
Anthony Calvillo, one of the few quarterbacks who calls his own plays, has a 19-play set on his wristband.
He's the inside receiver, and he just runs that timing route. That was almost a circus catch for Ben Cahoon, and that ball was thrown high. That was one of the problems Calvillo had against Toronto. The ball was sailing high on him a little bit.
52. A lot of wobbly passes last week. Flag on the play. Calvillo dances in the pocket. Throws to the 5-yard line. Cahoon is hit hard there. But a yard shy of a first down. But let's see what the penalty is.
A lot of traffic in there. That was Brian Clark with the hit. The good players want to make up for mistakes. Brian Clark had the penalty. He comes up with the hit on Cahoon there. We'll find out what this flag is this time. It looked like it might go against Montreal because Brian Clark is being given the options, and if you're given the options, that means the penalty is against the other team.
Offside. Montreal number 87. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Looked to me like Brian Clark looked to the sideline for some help from Tom Higgins, but it's all the way down at the opposite end of the field, and he just realized I can't even see him, so I'm just going to call it. And the Alouettes get another offside call, and that's the call that has been dominant for them. Look at the penalty category.
2nd and 15. Calvillo pump fake, in trouble. Has to roll, dodges some tacklers, and lets it go. The ball should have been caught that time by Robert Edwards.
Yeah, receiver generally catches that out in the open field. He had to turn back against the flow of the direction he was going, but it's a little tougher to ask a running back to make that catch. Running backs, even with good hands, that's a very difficult catch. Calvillo knows it because he's rolling to his left. He throws it in behind Robert Edwards. He can't hang on. That's Kevin Strasser, the offensive coordinator, working with the quarterbacks on the sideline.
3rd string quarterback Marcus Brady handling the clipboard. Duvall for his 2nd field goal tonight. This one from the 25-yard line. And right down Main Street. A minute to go in the 1st quarter, and it's a 1-point football game. 7-6 Stampeders. Montreal tonight, we thought it would be close, tight football, and that's what we've had so far. A couple of drives that have been aided by penalties. Alouettes still have not been able to find the touchdown for a couple of games. Did not score against Toronto as Henry Burris goes outside to Kenyon Rambo. Henry Burris wanted his team to get off to a fast start tonight, and they have.
As we all know in football, it's all about momentum. And we have to withstand their early flurry because they're going to come out and throw everything at us, the whole kitchen sink. But if we're able to stand there and continue to throw jabs and, continue with the right hooks and uppercuts and things like that, but stand our ground, stay composed, and focus on what we came here to do, we should have a good chance to sneak in here and hopefully run out of here with one, and hopefully repeat what we did here last year.
What they did here last year was win, which is very rare in Molson Stadium, a visiting team coming into this stadium and winning. And remember, it was Sandro DeAngelis who was the hero in that game too.
Yeah, I believe that was a 37-yarder to win that football game, and that was back in August last year.
Calgary number 64, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
The Montreal Alouettes have not lost at home since that football game, so not easy to beat Montreal here. And they've even said to the media here in Montreal that their goal this year, the Alouettes, is to be perfect at home and have a winning record on the road. And Anthony Calvillo told me yesterday that would mean around 14 wins in the season.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. That gets you in the final.
Will be the final play of the 1st quarter, barring penalty. Jermaine Copeland has it, and he is whipped down to the turf by Richard Carey, and that's it for the 1st quarter. A couple of Damon Duvall field goals and a Joffrey Reynolds touchdown. Stamps by 1. Kind of a conservative 1st quarter for the Owls and for the Stamps. Our numbers brought to you by Rona, proud league-wide sponsors of the CFL.
So far, defense is playing pretty well, but you heard Henry Burris talk about the fact that they had to weather the storm early on. With 7 first downs to 6 for Calgary, they have done more than that.
Surprised that the Alouettes also haven't been able to establish Robert Edwards yet. Only 6 rushing yards, but the key for the Alouettes, the 0 beside the turnovers.
Well, absolutely, but Anthony Calvillo still calls his own plays, and obviously he would like to throw his way out of this little slump that he finds himself in. Doesn't have a turnover, but he's got to go back to Robert Edwards. Robert Edwards provides that balance that Montreal offense needs.
Calvillo on the sidelines watching now. He'll go to work in a moment. Burke Dale's back at his 25-yard line as we get ready to start the 2nd quarter. Avon Coburn. And there's another fake. Brian Clark taking off down to the 42-yard lines. And so the Calgary Stampeders have come here into Montreal tonight with a full bag of tricks.
Brian Clark lines up as the up back right here, and he's going to get the direct snap right to him. It never gets back to Burke Dales, and then it's the sweep around the end. And Brian Clark shows some pretty good speed as he gets outside. He's got a lead blocker, and away goes. That blocker being Wes Lysak.
Don Matthews is known as a guy who can throw a lot of unpredictable things at you. The master is getting outmastered here so far.
Teacher's getting schooled.
Wow. Saw one trick play already, albeit one that came back on a penalty. Reynolds around the corner and close to a first down, but that was sold perfectly as well by Burke Dales.
Well, that's the key. The little things make a big difference because a lot of those guys, especially on the end players for the Montreal Alouettes are responsible. These guys right here, they're responsible to make sure that he kicks the football. So when they look up, when they're coming out of their stance and look up, they think the ball's been snapped over the head of Burke Dales. So that makes them hesitate, and that gives Brian Clark the corner.
Second down in short yardage. Well, I might have a little theory here now. The Calgary Stampeders came to town a couple of days early, but their equipment and luggage did not. It got delayed, and they worked out here in street clothes yesterday. Maybe they didn't have their equipment. They said, why don't we work on some razzle-dazzle?
you know the old General Patton against Rommel, right?
Yeah.
And Patton was going across the desert, and he got out of his tank, and he said, "You're beautiful, I read your book," to Rommel. That's how he was beating him, because he read Rommel's book. Well, Tom Higgins has read Don Matthews' book, and he's beating him at it.
Second short yardage. Reynolds again. Stuffed near the line. But the spot will probably determine that this will move the yardsticks. Tom Higgins and the Stampeders. There was a reason, though, for coming in a day early to Montreal.
2 time zone changes, so there's a 2-hour time difference, and by being able to have 2 sleeps before we play a football game, I think there is a benefit to that. The ownership group asked, is there something that they could do to help the football team? And I said, yes, very simply. Allow us the opportunity to come in a day earlier than we normally would.
Burris into traffic. Kenyon Rambo has it in his hands, but the ball ruled incomplete.
Now Burris put it between the 8 and the 5, and Kenyon Rambo just had it hit the turf. Let that body get that ball get to his body. And the young receivers, here he is out here, and he's gonna work his way back into here and then run the curl. And for the young receivers watching, this is why when you're gonna catch the football, use your hands. Because if he uses his hands, he's got a chance. But he lets that ball get to his shoulder pads, it bounces off the pads and hits the ground.
Second down and 10 now. Flags downfield. And the ball almost picked off by Clint Kent. Kent knew that he had an interception in his grasp, but there is a penalty on the play.
Yeah, let's see what that penalty is, because the flags are way back in the secondary. The Montreal Alouettes.
Going against Montreal, so this will continue to move the football.
Too many men. Montreal, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Signal for that. Touching the top of the official's cap. Too many men, and that is a signal that will send a coach crazy.
Little bit of surprise. The picture says 1,000 words, doesn't it, sometime?
Do you like the idea of the Stampeders coming in here early this week?
Absolutely. Oh, if you can afford it, get that extra night's sleep and get used to your surroundings helps in a big way.
Plus they have the bye week. Haven't played in 12 days. Burris has Copeland. Copeland has a first down to the 6-yard line. And the former Alouette, a star here for 4 years, coming back to haunt his old mates.
Boy, that was a race against the clock for Henry Burris. He knew his protection was going to start to break down, but he had to wait for guys to cross along the line like this. He had over and under patterns, but watch how the pocket is starting to collapse, and the guys get caught in the mix in the middle. See, they're all getting caught and cut off. Finally, Jermaine Copeland opens up to the outside, and he can dump it off, but that was a race against the clock for Henry Burris.
First and goal now. Stampeders looking to find the end zone again. The fake pitch, Burris dancing, and he is brought down. Anwar Stewart did not bite on that fake pitch.
He did not bite, and not only did he not bite, but he makes an open field tackle, second to none. Here he is right here. Now, a lot of times with the play action, guys will come inside like that and get caught. But Anwar Stewart plays it perfectly. He steps up. He knows he's got contained responsibility, and now this is the one-on-one matchup created, and he is in perfect position, doesn't let him get outside, and what an open field tackle by Anwar Stewart.
Big play here for both sides. Second and goal now. Burris audibles at the line. Broken play. Burris is brought down, and the Stampeders will have to settle for a field goal attempt. Now, wasn't looking good from the get-go there.
It got all clogged up. What Henry Burris wanted to go ahead and audible to was quarterback draw. He saw the two safeties go, and he saw this opening right in here, and he thought a quarterback draw, and I'm home free if I can get to that spot. But watch how they're going to close with a little bit of slant here. There's the slant by Louis McKay inside, the middle linebacker, and that closes that hole, and Henry Burris has to try and just make it up from there.
So now Sandro DeAngelis. Can't miss DeAngelis is what they're calling him. Little chip shot for him. Leading field goal kicker in the Canadian Football League makes it 10-6. It's Henry Burris and company, but they did kill a lot of the clock here in this second quarter. Time of possession favoring the Calgary Stampeders, who lead 10-6. Coburn cuts inside, and Avon Coburn will get it to the 34-yard line. The Alouettes, of course, still missing the little guy, Ezra Landry.
I was talking to some of the players about Ezra Landry yesterday, and got the feeling there was concern that they may not see him this year. He said it might be Coburn on the returns.
Nothing against Avon Coburn, but no. Ezra Landry is electrifying, and Landry is a guy who, when he gets the ball, can take it back every time.
No one was really giving any reasons, but I just got the feeling that Ezra Landry was sort of on the outside looking in.
He's had some knee problems. There's a good catch. Flag on the play. Terrence Edwards again, his second reception, but again a lot of penalty flags, and this one looks like it's going against Calgary.
Offside, Calgary number 30. Penalties decline. First down.
Cedric Williams. The Alouettes have not scored a touchdown in a long time.
112 minutes, I believe.
Not since the second quarter against the Stampeders when they lost 2 weeks ago. They've sputtered. Cahoon picks up 7 yards. In that Calgary game, Ben Cahoon had some rib problems that he was complaining about just prior to the game. Last week, he only had 2 catches.
Safe guy to look at. See, Tony Tiller's in your screen as well. He's a DB, but he's dropping off in the zone deeper. The guy who's going to make the tackle is Scott Cole, the linebacker.
Robert Edwards certainly hasn't had much running room here tonight, Suits.
Well, so far, the Calgary Stampeders, who rank 5th in the league against the run. on defense. And then, again, we've talked many times about that 3-down lineman, 4 linebacker, or 34 defense that the Calgary Stampeders play, which can be susceptible against run. And yet, Robert Edwards, slow start tonight against that defense.
Terrence Patrick out there, the down lineman in the 3-4. Damon Duvall kicking it away again. Tries to angle it. J.R. Ruffin. This ball will back up and then fumbled. But it's a no yards call, so Calgary will get the ball when we come back to Molson Stadium in Montreal. This is Wendy's CFL on TSN.
They award the winner, so over 1 million entries is fun. That's great.
Well, if you did enter, get out to the schoolyard and start kicking.
Yeah, there's 1 million people right now kicking field goals in their high school.
Yeah, what Deesburg did. Burris to Joffrey Reynolds, and a clothesline there by Lewis Mackey.
Well, you know, Reynolds knows he's going to get hit going through there. Lewis Mackey, the linebacker, comes across, and this is how you beat it. Here you go, Reynolds straight down the seam. He's got a deep defender in Ricky Bell. That's not the concern. The concern is the linebacker who's got another one on the opposite side and has to wait till the ball is thrown. Mackey makes the hit, but not until Reynolds has the first.
Lewis Mackey taking over the middle in the Montreal 4-3. Missed 4 games because of knee problems. Back in the lineup. Swan, a flutterer. Copeland again. It was kind of tipped at the line, it looked like, and not much there for the Stampeders.
I believe it was Anwar Stewart who has had his hands on a few footballs this year. He's going to be at the top of your screen, right up in the top, and Burris tries to get this. He knows pressure's coming, and it is Anwar Stewart with the right arm. The guy's like a ball hawk.
Wouldn't surprise me if he did get his hand on it. He's an octopus out there. Look at that now, interception returns for touchdowns.
In Montreal history, those are the leaders. Harry Skipper and Baron Miles, yes, but Anwar Stewart.
Down lineman. Burris throws. Is it caught? Yes, it is. Elijah Thurman on what looked like a broken play, and credit Henry Burris for dodging the pressure and making that work.
You know, and Elijah Thurman made a big catch against this football team, against Montreal, when they beat him in Calgary to set up the game-winning field goal by Sandro DeAngelis, who was down the sideline. A little bit different type of catch, but this is another big one in traffic. Thurman at the top of your screen. He's got the out up here. But watch, he works. He sees his quarterback in trouble. Keep coming back to the middle. Tough catch in traffic.
Inside 6 minutes now. And a helmet off of Nick Lewis. Hard hitting down there. Try a counter play that did not work for the Stampeders.
How about Nick Lewis, though? Hey, he takes that ball, goes inside. The first attempt at a tackle rips his helmet off, and he keeps running and takes another couple of hits with no helmet on. Nick Lewis is going to come from the top. There he is. Now here comes the helmet is off right now. Now he takes another couple right there under the chin. And then gets up. Butler hits him in the chin with no helmet on, and Nick Lewis gets up and says, yeah, no problem.
It's all right.
Don't even need this little piece of apparatus.
Old school football there. Burris has to throw quickly again, and it's caught again. Marcus Howell signals first down, and indeed the Stampeders move the football on another big 2nd and 10 conversion.
This is Henry Burris recognizing defenses and getting the ball out just in the nick of time. He's going to get hit again, but he knows he's got the hole open from Marcus Howell, the inside receiver. Now, can I get it off in time? If he had another couple of seconds, Howell probably scores a touchdown because he cuts across the face of Ricky Bell and is wide open, but believe me, the Calgary Stampeders will take the first down.
Stampeders again to the red zone. 1 touchdown in this game so far by this guy who reverses field. Flag is flying. And Joffrey Reynolds is brought down near the line of scrimmage.
You know, there's a lot of football to be played in this game, and by no means am I giving the Calgary Stampeders a win. I mean, this is a tough place to play, but they're doing little things very well. I mean, Henry Burris on that play threw a block for Joffrey Reynolds. Your quarterback steps up and tries to throw a block. That shows you, that's the reason that the Calgary Stampeders, just follow Henry Burris. Here he goes. He gives the ball away. Now he's all by himself. And he sees his running back come back. He goes, okay, now I got to help him. There we go. I got a guy, and he takes Butler, hits Dwayne Butler in the legs. And if you do enough of those little things, boy, the team comes together quickly. One of the reasons that Calgary has won 2 in a row.
Nick Lewis probably went over and said, nice block, too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, you got Nick Lewis. He doesn't have to play with a helmet on, and everybody rallies around that.
They are playing hard here tonight. Heavily against the Stampeders, so it's now first down and 20 yards to go. Have to get to about the 9-yard line to get another first down. 4 minutes to go in the first half. Burris will carry the mail himself. Can't get outside.
No.
Nowhere to go.
Because Tim Strickland, the linebacker, was lined up on the outside. I believe it was Kenyon Rambo was trying to block him, and Strickland just kind of tossed him aside like he was yesterday's newspaper. He just said, no, wait to the left of your screen. Watch for number 38 as Burris bounces to the outside. Strickland's going to step up, and he had just look at that. Right there. Hey, he takes Kenyon Rambo. He says, get out of my way. I've got a job to do, and pushes him out of bounds.
Stampeders have been able to move the football on second downs. This one, though, second and long. Have to get to the 9, or Sandro DeAngelis comes out again. Burris, the shovel to Howell. Howell trying to get outside. He does, and gets close to a first down, about a yard shy.
Wow, it'll be tempting for Tom Higgins, I'm sure, but the timing from Henry Burris to get Anwar Stewart to commit is the key to the success of this football play, because if Anwar Stewart feathers this properly, he may have a chance. Here's Stewart right on the outside here. And watch how the patience that Henry Burris will use to come to the outside. See, patient. Now, as soon as he steps up to Burris, then the ball is delivered underneath to Marcus Howell. Or Anwar Stewart could have come back and probably made the tackle on Howell.
Well, points are a premium here tonight, and Tom Higgins not willing to gamble with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's about a yard and a half against a very good defense against the run. So DeAngelis will come out and try to put his second field goal, get his third field goal of the night through the uprights. I say third because one of those was an attempt. That was a trick. He has his second now. It's 13-6 Calgary.
The Calgary Stampeders don't rule out the Montreal Alouettes out just yet. I mean, they have been down this season and come back with some big wins. They were down 7-6 in the first, and they are down 13-6 now, but do not rule out comeback by the Montreal Alouettes.
They are slow starters and quick finishers, and that time Anthony Calvillo once again could not find Thyron Anderson downfield.
You know, Anthony Calvillo has been on in those intermediate and short routes, but the deep routes have been a problem. That's the third time he's tried to go deep now, and all three have been overthrown by about 5 or 6 yards. Looks like he's just trying to avoid any chance for an interception and maybe pushing the ball too deep for his receivers to run under.
Biggest play of the game, only one play for the Alouettes, a 20-yard gainer. Calvillo to Cahoon. Calvillo has to scurry here, and he's brought down. Stampeders with a sack.
Demetrius Maxey gets in there. Initially, good coverage at the snap of the football, and Calvillo has to reload. There's going to be pressure on the outside right here. Here comes that pressure. That's picked up, but the pocket in the middle starts to break down. Sheldon Apusta gets a little bit of penetration. That flushes Anthony Calvillo outside. Demetrius Maxey gets him. 2 and out.
The Alouettes have to be concerned about their offense. Only 4 plays in this quarter. They have not scored a touchdown in nearly 2 full football games. Actually more than that, over 120 minutes now. This is from an offense that has in the past been so explosive.
Well, it has, but it's been explosive with a mixture of Robert Edwards and a mixture of great passing game. And I'm seeing a lack of Robert Edwards in this first half. And even though Edwards had 15 carries last week, their running game was off.
Stampeders have done what the Argos did last week too, and that is take away the run from Edwards. They've done a good job. Credit the Stampeders. Ball control and their offense. Edwards puzzled on the sideline too.
With a chance for more points here for Henry Burris.
2 minutes plus to go. You're going to need the points here in Montreal. Joffrey Reynolds. He's been pounding the ball on first down and picks up 3.
We have seen a steady diet of Joffrey Reynolds in this game, and you know, the one thing about offensive coordinators, sometimes it's tough for them to stay with the run if it doesn't have success early. But when you have a guy like Joffrey Reynolds or Robert Edwards, for that matter, even though the holes may not be there early on, you have a talented running back that can maybe make something happen. Reynolds has certainly done it many times. Steve Barato knows that, so he sticks with him.
Marcus Howell out wide left. Elijah Thurman on the short side. Reynolds in the backfield. Burris in the shotgun. 2nd and 6. Looking for Thurman. Goes the other way instead. Downfield. This ball's up for grabs. And it is picked off by Richard Carey. And Henry Burris forces one. And that was an easy pick for Carey.
Henry Burris thought Jermaine Copeland was going to come back to the middle, and instead Copeland took off and went down the field. Jermaine Copeland is right in here, and he ends up right about here, and then he thinks he's going to come in, and what he does is go down the field that way. That's why the throw looks like it's thrown right to Richard Carey. Watch Copeland. Now he thinks Copeland's going to come back into that open area. He doesn't. He stops and he keeps running straight down the numbers. So Richard Carey says, well, hey, throw it right to me. That was like a punt return for Carey. Carey gets his 2nd on the season.
9th interception thrown by Burris. The Alouettes have a chance to score here in the final 2 minutes before halftime. Down by 7. In a couple of weeks. Taking a few notes, I'm sure, is Danny Machocha.
I will just go in as a fan. No one will know I'm here.
Yeah.
And I will scout the game.
Good seats. Calvillo dodges some traffic. Throws to the sideline for Thyron Anderson, and a first down for Montreal with 1:52 left in the first half.
Thyron Anderson's an interesting story. 400 yards coming in with 33 catches. I asked him if he thought he was having a good season, on pace for about 800 yards, and he said, you know, I haven't seen the football as much as I'd like, but I think I am. He said, I've dropped one pass. That last week versus Toronto.
4 receivers to the left. He goes left. Looking sideline, and a catch made by Dave Stala. Nice play. Dave Stala hasn't exactly had a banner season, but that's a highlight reel catch, and it moves the Alouettes close to the goal line.
And remember what it does. We talked about the matchups that Montreal would try and get with inside receivers on the newcomers at linebacker and Khalid Abdullah. Well, Khalid Abdullah ends up in a one-on-one. That's the position that George White usually plays in. Not bad position, but doesn't play the ball, and Stala does. Montreal's on the doorstep.
And on the doorstep, this is where the Alouettes usually go, to number 47, Robert Edwards, who leads the CFL in touchdowns with 11, 8 rushing, but Calvillo's in the shotgun. For Anderson, and a touchdown. Little slant into the end zone with 1:34 to go, and the Alouettes have their first touchdown in 2 games.
Coming off the turnover, Henry Burris throws the interception to Richard Carey, and Anthony Calvillo, who hadn't seen the football in this quarter hardly at all, takes advantage of an extra opportunity and throws a dart.
Well, just like it was a couple of weeks ago in Calgary. Game that featured a lot of heroics and good tight football. We've got the same thing going here. The turnover by the Stampeders results in a touchdown by Thyron Anderson. Calvillo's been doing a lot of standing around here in this second quarter, so you really have to think that's a real bonus for the Alouettes.
Oh, without question. They take advantage of the turnover because, you know, teams have said for many years coming into Montreal, in order to beat the Montreal Alouettes, one way you have to do it is to keep that ball out of the hands of that guy, Anthony Calvillo. Calgary had done that all the way up to 2.5 minutes left in this quarter.
Last time the Alouettes had scored a touchdown was the second quarter against the Stampeders 2 weeks ago. 13-13 thanks to Thyron Anderson and Anthony Calvillo. 5 interceptions for Calvillo last week, but a costly one here by Henry Burris leads to a touchdown by the Alouettes.
That's why the quarterbacks hate to throw interceptions. It's not just the fact that they've turned the ball over, it also is the change in momentum. Calgary Stampeders had controlled Anthony Calvillo on defense. They were moving the football in the second quarter up and down the field. They had to settle for a couple of field goals. But the moment the turnover is created by the defense, it changes momentum. Calvillo scores in a hurry, and now it's a whole different football game.
Marcus Howell. J.R. Ruffin back. Each team has scored a touchdown. Each field goal kicker has had 2 3-pointers. Ruffin dropped at the 22-yard line. AC goes 3 for 3 on a 50-yard drive thanks to Richard Carey's pickoff.
He kept his eyes on the football, so give him credit for that to drop off. But that wasn't just a turnover because a 2-and-out means nothing. But Stalin makes a catch. Calvillo feels confident and throws a laser inside to Thyron Anderson. Touchdown Montreal. Momentum has completely changed. As they go into halftime, it's a very different football game.
Last couple of years, Anthony Calvillo has had 4 receivers predominantly with 1,000 yards. Right now, he's on pace to only have a couple of receivers this year, and I think that says a lot about the offense here. Calvillo's numbers are down.
I mean, first of all, Calvillo grabs momentum. He moves the football team down and scores immediately after the turnover. Now, you see Henry Burris come out, and he looked hesitant to pull the trigger. You know, all the way up into the interception, he was taking that football and throwing it somewhere, and it had been for a completion. And he throws one interception. That time he was holding the ball, trouble, and had to just throw it away.
Alouettes, the Stampeders can't get the first down here. Could get the ball back again before halftime. Burris has to backpedal in a big way. Jermaine Copeland could not hang on, and indeed Burke Dales will come out, and still a lot of time on the clock for Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes to go up before they head to the locker room.
You know, it's interesting that a couple of problems that Calgary's had has been with the chemistry between Henry Burris and Jermaine Copeland, because this has been a combination that's been lethal to opposing defenses. And it looked to me again like Jermaine Copeland was a little bit late in turning back to that football where Henry Burris thought he would be.
Dales got under it. Kind of a pop fly. Should be no yards, and it is. Coburn out of bounds at midfield.
Well, he caught it in the air, which usually indicates that it'll be a 15-yard no-yard penalty, not a 5-yard no-yard penalty.
Which would move the Alouettes very close to field goal position.
Calgary number 42, 15-yard penalty. First down.
15-yarder.
Yeah. See, guys are trying to stop and get out of the way, but they've lost the football for the Calgary Stampeders. Here they come down covering. See, there's Khalid Abdullah. He's trying to put the brakes on. He can't. But in the meantime, if you catch the football in the air, it's a 15-yarder if you're inside that 5-yard zone.
Lots of time here. Calvillo. About a 4-yard gain. 2nd and 6. Stalla once again. Dave Stalla had a 1,000-yard season last year. He's way behind those numbers.
Well, right now with Kerry Watkins out, only Ben Cahoon's on pace for 1,000. Kerry Watkins would be. He's out with injury. Terrence Edwards replaces him.
Time for Calvillo. Cahoon still on his feet. Still on his feet. Down to the 10-yard line. When this guy is in the zone, he is almost unstoppable.
Yeah, he was trying to tell me, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that way when you catch a lot of balls in practice. And sometimes it just means that you're going to be ignored in the game. I don't think so, Mr. Cahoon. Good try, but I know that with Calvillo struggling, he's going to look for you, and he has.
6 catches for 85 yards for Cahoon. The catch here, and down to the 5-yard line. Once again, that's Stalla. So he's made his presence felt here tonight, and the Montreal offense starting to click into gear when they didn't have the football practically the whole quarter.
You see that move by Ben Cahoon? Let's take a look at it. He just shakes. What a shake and bake by Cahoon. He caught Tony Tiller up high to defensive back. He gave him a couple shakes with a shoulder pad, and it was over.
Calvillo. Tripped up was Cahoon at the 2-yard line. Wanted to call, will not get it. And so now it will be 3rd down and 3 yards to go. And the Alouettes will kick for the lead with 19 seconds left. Montreal was down 7-6 after 1 quarter, 13-6, and you called it. You know, as much as the Stampeders had the momentum here, you almost have to build yourself a real big cushion in Montreal, because you know the Alouettes at home will come back at you. Duvall through the uprights, and it's 16-13.
10 points for the Montreal Alouettes and inside of about 2 minutes. And we still have 16 seconds left. So, you know, that's how quickly it can change. And that's how one play can change the direction of a football game.
Kind of seen it all here in this first half, haven't we? Highly entertaining. It's not the highest scoring game. Haven't seen loads of offense, but some trickery. Wes Cates' play that had to come back. Saw the direct snap on the punt attempt to Brian Clark.
Hey, be careful, be careful.
What we haven't seen a lot of is Robert Edwards. We thought they would establish him more on the ground, Montreal.
Well, they may now.
Clean.
They have, you know, you start to get a little bit of a lead. You can go back to the running game. So Calvillo throws one more touchdown. We'll see a ton of Robert Edwards.
Stampeders will play it out here and just take the knee and head to the locker room down 3 when they were only moments ago up 7. The Alouettes score 10 points in 67 seconds, and the Montreal Alouettes are back out on top in their own stadium. 16-13 at the half. Dave?
Thanks a lot, Rod. Well, it was not that long ago where Montreal had just 6 points on the board, but 10 quick points by the unbeaten at-home Alouettes, and they have the lead. Coming up, these guys are going to talk about the two teams, and Matt's going to tell you why that Calgary touchdown came off the board. It's kind of complicated. Going to take a run at it. So get out your pens and pencils. Here's Joffrey Reynolds on a first, second, third effort into the end zone. Calgary trails by 3.
By Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right.
Well, here is the Boston Pizza CFL poll question we asked you. Who do you think is the best field goal kicker in the CFL? Those were the choices. Some young, some older. You voted and you logged on and you went with the veteran. One of the veterans. McCallum was probably the most experienced kicker there. But Noel Prefontaine of the Toronto Argonauts, who we will show you tomorrow night in Winnipeg, takes it. Followed closely by Sandro DeAngelis, who's got a couple in this game. Damon Duvall is also chipped in on the scoreboard, including a 49-yarder. Hi again, everybody. Dave Randorf, Chris Schultz, Matt Dunning, and Jock Climbing. Let's get right to it in a game that is now led by the Alouettes. 16-13, trying to stay a perfect record at home, trying to improve the home record to 5-0. Schultz, we'll begin with you. What is Anthony Calvillo doing better this week that he didn't do so well last week?
Well, he's found his confidence back in his arm, and his judgment of plays while they are in motion are absolutely perfect. Watch Anthony on these various throws. The first one here to Ben Cahoon. He's going to find the opening not between 1 or 2, but between 4 different Calgary Stampeder football players. Excellent understanding of how effective your arm just can be. Now this other one, this line of scrimmage play, notice how he hits it on the front shoulder of Terrence Edwards so he can make the transition upfield. That's excellent accuracy. And this might be one of the best throws of the year to Dave Stala. Here, he loops it over the defender and right into the hands of Dave Stala. I mean, the window of opportunity to make that play is so small. Anthony Calvillo, ladies and gentlemen, is back.
Yeah, he's that last throw in the corner was
amazing.
Absolutely outstanding. And Dave Dickinson is one of the only other quarterbacks that can make that kind of throw. Now, Calgary is in this football game in large measure due to the way their offense is playing, and they're doing some things offensively very well. I just wanted to point out a couple of them. And first of all, let me look at Joffrey Reynolds and show you something he does better than just about anybody else. Look at his shoulders. His shoulders are horizontal while he is going to the sideline. He is the only running back I know who can do that. He picks up 8 yards because of his ability to keep his shoulders square while going off tackle. And here's what you do against the blitz. When you've got the blitz, you got a guy coming off the edge. This is exactly what you have to do. You have to lose ground and buy yourself time to find your open receiver. And Henry Burris does that very well. You backpedal, you buy time, you let the ball go. Great job by the quarterback there.
Yeah, Jocko, you know he practices that, and that's crazy. That's what quarterbacks do professionally. They practice those off-balance throws. And I tell you what, Craig Dickinson, the special teams coach for the Calgary Stampeders, are doing a whale of a job, but he got caught on a field goal attempt early in this ball game that took a major score off the board for the Stampeders. Now, let me explain this. You have eligible numbers, 1 through 49 and 70 through 79. Now, before every game, a coach gives those players that are wearing eligible numbers that may play between the tackle boxes or in eligible positions on the football field, the numbers to the referee. Now, what happens here in this case is Randy Chevrolet, the deep snapper for the Calgary Stampeders, is right here, okay? And he's between the tackles, and this is what we're talking about. This is between the tackles. That's an ineligible position. So anybody on that list that was given to the referee before the ball game then becomes ineligible. And right here at West Case, number 25, he becomes a non-eligible player at that point. And so a great play turns into basically a reprieve for the Montreal Alouettes, and the Stampeders are caught. And so, hey, but my hat's off, because right now, Craig Dickinson, guys, is taking it to Don Matthews. And Don Matthews, we all know, is kind of like the guru of special teams
trick plays. By the way, no offense to Glenn Johnson, the official for tonight's game. He didn't explain that play, but that's because he is not mandated to by the Commissioner's office, or in this case, George Black, the head of officials in the Canadian Football League, as they do, I think, very well down south in the National Football League. And this is something that George Black is considering right now in implementing for game games perhaps as soon as Labor Day weekend. When you come into a situation like that, we all are kind of left in the dark, and a little explanation would probably help, and you just might see that in the very near future here on the CFL. Here's one of those trick plays. That was a fake field goal and a rumble by the big linebacker Brian Clark, but they trail by 3.
Unidentifiable situation in this game that has changed. Look at the turnovers. Just one for the Calgary Stampeders, produced 7 points, and that is the difference in the game. Congratulations, Ant Calvio. No interceptions, no turnovers. Good job.
Stats brought to you as always by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet, and here is our Brent Wallace along with Montreal's Brian Chu.
Brian, going into the half, that touchdown really seemed to energize this offense. Is that what's really turned it around for you guys? You talked about the up front guys. Is that a way to try and get this running game fired up and get it going?
I mean, Calgary's doing a great job. You have to give them credit. They have one of the best front sevens out there, and, they're scheming the run. So right now we have to, throw the short little dump passes.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Henry Burris made one crucial error throwing a pick, and it ended up leading to this touchdown by Thyron Anderson. Montreal with a 3-point lead, third quarter's.
16-13 Montreal after a turnaround late in the second quarter. Calgary Stampeders head coach Tom Higgins caught up with our Brent Wallace.
Tom, going in the first half, you guys had everything going your way and you had ball control. What changes will have to go on in the second half really to turn it around for you guys?
Well, in the CFL, it's real simple. You got two halves. You got to play them both. We thought that it would be a good first half. It was. Now we play the second 30 minutes and see what happens.
You must be happy with your defense, though. I mean, you've kept Montreal's offense off the field for a lot of the night.
Well, so far, so good. There's a lot of things that are happening on the field that are very good. We just got to keep it up, and it's anybody's ball game right now.
Tom, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thanks.
Anybody's ball game indeed, and the guy who ended the last game between these two teams, a short kickoff, and the Stampeders look like they have the football.
The third time in a row tonight. I was just about to say that the downside for Tom Higgins is he's used up all his tricks.
Look at Houdini's going, wait a second, David Copperfield.
Yeah, he's stunned on the sideline, and that ball traveled 10 yards. It's first down, Calgary. Ball has to travel 10 yards. They punch it forward, design onside. It's traveled 10 now. They touch it and recover it. Perfectly executed onside kick to start the second half.
All right, let's see now. Direct snap, shovel pass on a field goal, but that was, again, an illegal play. And now the short kickoff. Is there anything left in the razzle-dazzle bag that?
Well,
that
there's reverses. There's the hook and ladder. There's.
Now momentum comes back to the Stampeders, and Joffrey Reynolds takes it close to the first down marker, but about 10 yards back. It's a holding call against Calgary, and this ball will come back.
Pulled off another one, Tom Higgins, after the onside kick with Craig Dickinson, the special teams coach.
There is a rabbit under that cap, I know it.
Well, no, hey, these are well-executed plays that they've obviously worked on, saw something on game film, and I think it's almost wrong to call them trick plays because they're just
deception plays.
Deception plays, really. That's a better way to describe them because you coach them, you draw them up, you practice them, and you see something on film that you can take advantage of.
You just don't think that you're going to catch the Montreal Alouettes off guard, though. It doesn't happen very often, if ever. Burris goes deep for Copeland. Oh, ball goes way up. Looks like it hit maybe Chip Cox in the foot here, or maybe Copeland, or someone got a hand on it, but the ball went bounding over the boundary.
What a throw by Henry Burris. That's a long, deep throw, and Copeland's trying to adjust, turns around, and look how Chip Cox just reaches back with his right hand, and it goes off his wrist, and he looks back to the football so he doesn't draw a pass interference call.
Chip Cox has had an outstanding start to his CFL year, his rookie season. His first game, he had 2 interceptions. He's had a blocked kick this year. He's had a recovery for a touchdown. Also spent some time as his backup, though. He struggled. Burris stands in, but is hit. His arm is hit. The ball is incomplete. And Burris gets up off his backside. And one consistent now, too, is the frantic rush of the Montreal Alouettes. Much more intense than it was earlier in the ballgame.
Starting to get a little more pressure. Arkel Trueluck comes around the corner. He gets his hand on that football. Number 91 for the Montreal Alouettes and brings Henry Burris down. Trueluck has been on and off the roster due to injury this year.
Arkel Trueluck played with Saskatchewan in the late 1998 season, 2000. Many people thought he was going to be the answer to the next Bobby Jurison, then went down to the NFL. Another high one from Burke Dales. Coburn tiptoeing on the sidelines and nowhere to go. 16-13 Alouettes. Now the pitch this time to Darren Diedrich, one of the newest Als coming over from the Edmonton Eskimos. Played NCAA ball, Canadian born. Tonight's game, by the way, I love that sound, brought to you by Sony TSN HD and available in Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound.
Almost like we're bringing in a Tom Cruise movie or something. All that stuff. Maybe I'll let that sound effect do it.
That's good. Oh, almost picked off there. In and out of the hands. And Jermaine Chapman knows he could have had an interception very easily, and so now the Alouettes will boot it away.
Well, in fairness to Chapman, he's got his eyes locked on the receiver, and when this develops, you're going to see him. The ball is going to tip through his feet. He's got his eyes. He drops in the zone. He's got his eyes locked on Ben Cahoon, and all of a sudden the ball bounces through Cahoon's hands, and everyone's going to be surprised at that. Calvillo will be. Chapman will be. And Ben Cahoon will be.
J.R. Ruffin, nowhere to go, and loses yards back at his 30. Avon Colburn, the returner, comes downfield to stop a returner, with the Alouettes leading and the Stamps offense on the field.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Holiday Inn Hotels, the official business hotel of the CFL. With free high-speed internet in every room, the office is just a click away.
Now into the second half of the season at the midway point. You've been surprised by the season so far, some of the unpredictability, and also the fact that scoring is down this year?
The defenses are on the upswing, and I love it.
Just like that.
I know some of the fans don't, but I do love it.
Is there any rhyme or reason to you the fact that scoring is down, some of the numbers are down, some of the people say the excitement level isn't what it once was? There have been some exciting games, Mike.
Well, one of the reasons for that is that we haven't seen the punt returns for touchdowns this year, and there's lots of reasons for that.
A new rule mostly, you would think.
Well, one is the new interpretation of how you can block on those returns, but certainly that's not the only reason. Two fresh special teams guys on special teams and on the roster is a big reason for that. But offenses will catch up, and in the second half, I wouldn't be surprised to see some shootouts.
We are in the second half of this ball game tonight. Not a shootout yet, but close football. That one drifts high over the head. Burris 0 for 5
and an interception. The 0 for 5 coming after that pick.
Dale's trying to angle this one, a hopper. See what Coburn can do with it. Barrels forward. 11:04 to go in the third quarter. Still a 3-point game in Montreal on TSN.
Couple by Montreal tonight. Tim Strickland, he has 5 now on the season. That's number 1 for the Montreal Alouettes. Anwar Stewart has another.
Calvillo to the sidelines, and that one is off target, looking for Thyron Anderson.
And Demetrius Maxey has a sack for the Calgary Stampeders tonight, so 3 to that total. And now 2nd and long. So what will the Calgary Stampeders bring? Will they bring pressure against Anthony Calvillo? Or try and drop everybody off and see if he can be patient with the football?
Movement offside, Calgary. Stampeders said they were drawn offside and that Montreal may have moved first, but it didn't look that way. We'll see.
Sheldon Napustuk went right over to Brian Chu and said, come on, tell him you moved. There he is right there in the middle of your screen. See, he takes off early. Like way early.
Offside. Calgary number 92. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
So he didn't win the argument.
This game's becoming a lot like the game 2 weeks ago. Alouettes had the early lead. In fact, led at the half 17-11. The same territory where we're at now. It was a low-scoring third quarter. And then, of course, you know what happened after that. Calgary coming back to win. Lots of time here for Calvillo, but look out now. Might have to eat it. Down the sidelines, and he throws it away.
Raheem Abdullah was in chase on Anthony Calvillo. He could hear him breathing down his neck, and he had one option. O'Neal Wilson was trying to fight to get open, and it was, can Anthony Calvillo draw the defensive backs away from coverage? He's going to end up coming out in this direction, and when he gets flushed out, he's got 53 chasing him down. There's the foot race right there. Now, if O'Neal can cause someone at the defensive backfield to jump up, he's got a chance. It didn't happen in time, so he threw it into the track.
Defense is dominating here. There's Raheem Abdullah, his brother also. Starting lineup tonight for the Stampeders. Khalid, 3 years younger. Good kick here from Duvall over the head of Ruffin, and this will go for a single point and make it a 4-point game. Usually the kickers like to angle it out of bounds, but you never know when you have those points how it might play out in the end.
Especially in a close game. But, you know, this game has really turned the corner for the Calgary Stampeders, and they got to find a way to snap out of it. Henry Burris, with just over 2 minutes left in the first half, after dominating the first half in the time of possession category, tries to force this one downfield to Tremaine Copeland. Intercepted by Richard Carey, and the Montreal Alouettes in 67 seconds scored 10 points. And the Calgary Stampeders offensively have not looked the same since.
Did gather some momentum right out of the locker room with that short kickoff, but really their trick plays tonight. When the Cates play did not work, well, it worked, but was called back. They haven't been able to get anything to the end zone. Well, there's the reverse to Kenyon Rambo. Actually, that is Cates again, and Wes Cates is taking off to the 20-yard line and finally brought down at the 10. So Wes Cates has been the guy that they've pulled a few of these razzle-dazzle plays tonight.
Well, is he ever, and he has shown some speed tonight and just may be involved in the offense a whole bunch more. A little bit of misdirection here. Fake to Joffrey Reynolds, give it to Wes Cates coming around the corner. But watch what he does when he tightrope walks the sideline, cuts back in on Richard Carey, fights off Davis Sanchez, cuts back to the middle, and then a burst of speed. That's how you earn a few more plays offensively, doing that kind of thing.
Stampeders have been able only to get to the house once. It was Joffrey Reynolds earlier. Joffrey Reynolds here, straight arming, but going nowhere. Clint Kent bringing him down.
Early on in the first half, the Calgary Stampeders had the ball in about the same place on the field, and they were second and about a yard and a half, maybe 2 yards. And I thought at that point, Tom Higgins may be tempted to go ahead and take a shot You got to figure that the Calgary Stampeders are going to need majors. You talk about Montreal. If you don't score majors and take advantage of your opportunities on Montreal, they will come back and beat you.
So Wes Cates, who had a touchdown brought back earlier when he was an ineligible receiver on a play, a shovel pass. One of the biggest plays here tonight, setting up the Stampeders, and open in the end zone for the touchdown is Kenyon Rambo. Rambo loves the goalpost, and so do the rest of the Stampeders. I haven't quite seen this one before. The goalpost takes a beating, but the Stampeders are leading.
Kenyon Rambo's right here. Hold it for a second, guys. Watch what Kenyon Rambo's got. He's got Richard Carey in this area, but he's going to go here and then go to the corner and get just outside of Carey so he can't close in time. Here he goes out to the corner. Carey can't get there from, you'll see number 1 right there. He's a little bit late, and a perfect throw from Henry Burris.
Burris and Rambo, who had words earlier in the season and then resolved their differences. Boy, connected there. Calgary goes in front, now leading by 3, 2017. Device or on the internet, CFL.ca. Player of the game brought to you by Rogers Wireless. Rogers brings you the latest MP3 phones, and Wes Cates has to get some serious consideration.
Well, Ben Cahoon's had a pretty good night for Montreal. You can't really vote for Craig Dickinson, but he could be the player, the coach of the game so far, anyway.
Colburn tripped up. I don't think anybody should vote prematurely, though. I think the player of the game still could be anybody out there. I think we're a long way from the conclusion of this. 2017, 7:42 to go in the third quarter. We have an injured Stampeder on the field. The Alouettes offense will go to work when we come back. He's done a good job here tonight. He might be the Rogers player of the game.
Hey, he sharpened up his pencil when he drew up the game plan from this. Started out with a fake field goal, went for a touchdown, but was called back. Okay, they had a formation problem. Then they went to a fake punt. Ryan Clark took that for a first down for the Calgary Stampeders. To start the second half, little onside kick. That worked to perfection for the Calgary Stampeders. Now, is there any more tricks in the bags? Look, he's looking at the chart. I got a couple others in here. There's one there on the left. I got that one.
Yeah, have that reverse.
Yeah. Okay. You know what it does, though? In all seriousness, what it does is if this game comes down to a field goal, let's say, Sandro DeAngelis will have all kinds of time in the world to kick the football, because now Montreal has to respect the fact that maybe Calgary does it again.
Hand off to Edwards, has had no running room except for right here. Edwards with one of his big gainers tonight. Funny thing about Craig Dickinson, he's lucky to be in the building here tonight. Actually had a hard time getting in. They weren't letting him into Molson Stadium. Didn't think he was one of the coaches.
Yeah, this is a security building. You just can't. And he didn't have his pass. And we got our director, Andy, helped him in.
Well, actually, what he did an end around, and it wasn't around the security guard.
So maybe that was where he got the idea.
Calvillo sideline. Once again, it's Thyron Anderson. And that will be a Montreal first down, just past the midfield stripe. The offense is sputtered coming out of the locker room. A lot of 2-and-outs. Hunters went to work, and finally Henry Burris has the play for Cates, and then the touchdown. Maybe Montreal will answer here. It's been a story here tonight too, Glenn, is the fact that Robert Edwards on these first down carries hasn't really been able to get much yardage. This is actually one of his bigger gains, only 4 yards.
Interesting season for Robert Edwards. 701 yards coming in. He has 8 touchdowns. His average is 5.3 yards, but both running backs sort of neutralized here tonight. Edwards hasn't really broke a whole bunch of big ones this season.
6 minutes to go, third quarter. Calvillo goes to his right for Cahoon. And that will be another Alouette first down.
Ben Cahoon really sticks his routes, and what that means, he comes up, and Ben Cahoon will plant his foot and sell it. Watch Ben Cahoon here. Here he is, and he's going to run like this. He's going to come up, plant his foot, and then go to the out. Watch how he sells it with his left foot. He comes inside, plant. See that plant? 2 hard steps, and then back to the outside. Now, Wes Lysak has to respect that.
Cahoon, 7 catches, almost 100 yards here, 93 tonight. Nice catch by Dave Stala. He's made the most acrobatic grabs here.
You mentioned Dave Stala being off to a real slow start for his standards, and early on in the season, Stala actually, old sticky hands actually dropped a couple. And that's something we hadn't seen from Dave Stala, although he did have some problems with his shoulder and he wasn't able to lift his arm up quite full range of motion, and that caused some problems. And often when real good players are struggling, there is an injury hidden in there somewhere.
Second and short yardage, actually, and he's stuffed in the backfield. Spot wasn't very good for Stala. So now it will be 3rd down and 4, and this will bring out Damon Duvall to tie the game. At least attempt to.
Penetration ruins the running game. I mean, it just, if your offense and you get any kind of penetration through that offensive line, it just, you have no chance, whether you're trying to run outside or trying to run up in the middle. The moment you have a defender get in behind in the backfield, it disrupts the entire timing of the play, and it doesn't create any bubble for the running back. He has no time because he's just taking the football.
2 best kickers in the CFL so far this season, putting on a show here. Nobody has missed yet. This one from the 44-yard line. Duvall's been good from 49, 25, and 13. This one curves in for his 4th field goal of the night. We're all square at 20.
Played a nice draw there.
Yeah.
Damon Duvall played it
like David Duvall.
Right to the green.
Damon Duvall out of Auburn. It's been a good find for the Montreal Alouettes the last couple of years. When we talk about finds, you have to give a lot of credit to the general manager here, the longest serving GM.
Oh, Jim Popp. Yeah, without question. If not the best, in the top 2 in the Canadian Football League when it comes to finding talent and running a football team from the general manager post. That's been Jim Popp, Montreal Alouettes.
Play action, Burris to Nick Lewis. Has almost 20 yards on that pass play. Nick Lewis has been kind of quiet here tonight.
Yeah, he has. He's been working on Ricky Bell for the most part tonight. He's got a catch. He's inside half field right here. Just works to the inside, gets a little chuck from Ricky Bell, but that push actually got him a little separation.
3.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Well, there it is. Reverse. Rambo down the sidelines, and look out. Knocked out of bounds. And just keep ticking off the tricks here.
Yeah. What are the other plays that they could buzz me? Well, maybe a reverse or a double reverse. Okay, so now we've seen the double. Well, here it comes. You're going to see Nick Lewis. He'll take the ball up on the top. There's Nick Lewis, and then the handoff to Kenyon Rambo with Henry Burris, the lead blocker. He gets a little piece of out the outside corner. I think it was Sanchez. And, okay, now we're up to 4.
Here it is again. Ever since Henry Burris started doing those Sports Center ads, I think he wants his team to be on the highlight of the night every night.
Well, they've got a lot to choose from tonight from the Calgary Stampeders. Been fun to watch.
It has been. I haven't tried the flea flicker yet. Maybe. Who knows?
It's early.
End zone and penalty flag as Henry Burris was dusted in the backfield, and this could be a roughing the passer call.
It was Dwayne Butler.
And that is an undisciplined penalty right here if it is roughing the passer.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Montreal, number 25. Half the distance to the goal line, 1st down.
Butler comes on a bit of a delay. His job is to cover Joffrey Reynolds. When he sees Joffrey Reynolds block, then he has the free path to the quarterback, but he's a step late.
Step late. Looked like he tried to stop, but could not stop.
And he didn't lead with his helmet or anything like that. He basically hit chest to chest. He tried to avoid contact, but couldn't.
Boy, the offense is suddenly at work here late in the third quarter. The option pitch. Outside goes Rambo. Knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, this is a great game plan by both the special teams coach for the Calgary Stampeders, Craig Dickinson, from Tom Higgins and his entire staff, including Steve Brown, the offensive coordinator, because now he's got Nick Lewis coming over here on the reverse, and he's shown it to Kenyon Rambo. So now what does he do? He brings it over here. Nick Lewis comes around. Kenyon Rambo comes around. Now you've got so much motion in the backfield. The Montreal Alouettes are guessing as to what they're going to try and run from that same formation.
Well, here's another big play for the Stampeders. 2nd down and 3. Tough spot to be in. A lot of times a throwing spot for Burris. Goes to the corner, and it is a touchdown for Jermaine Copeland.
Boy, Copeland does a great job of being patient in what is going on.
This is the bobsleigh now?
The bobsleigh.
The bobsleigh. Oh, now I've seen it all.
Oh, boy.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You know,
the 5-man bob.
You know they've got to work on that stuff, right? Like they don't just make that up. But watch what he does. Let's go back to where he's playing football. Jermaine Copeland, watch how he gears down. He waits, almost tries to draw the penalty just in case something bad happens, but makes a nice catch and keeps that 1 foot in bounds, and that's all you need is one.
DeAngelis converts. And now we do have a shootout, don't we?
Well, we do. I told you they'd come around.
27-20 now. Calgary, still 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and Copeland on this little out pattern to the corner of the end zone. Good toss by Burris.
Yeah, and then this one, which this takes coordination. He just wants to make sure his teammates are there, else it looks real silly. But he gets the teammates there, and now it's the bobsled. Here they go. They bank right.
You know what that is,
bank
don't you?
Bank right.
That's the Calgarian bobsled team.
There they are.
Cool runnings.
This team, this receiving corps likes to have a little fun after they get to the end zone, don't they?
Wow. 5 plays, 75 yards. And really set up as well by that reverse to Rambo. We have seen it absolutely all. And you know, it's kind of funny. And maybe Don Matthews is kind of playing his cards back. Montreal's gone with the basics here tonight. We haven't seen any tricks from them. And again, I don't want to say tricks, but any deception plays.
Yeah, and he must be reeling right now because he's had a bunch go against him.
Yeah, for the most part, all of these plays have worked for the Stampeders here, and they have the lead. Diedrich once again, star with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, trying to make it in the NFL. Talking that Darren Diedrich will be one of the stars here in Montreal. They're saying really that he is the future back. Eric Lapointe, who's not in the lineup this week and is kind of talking about maybe retirement this year, has said that watch out for Darren Diedrich.
Yeah, and he'll play a lot on special teams. When you have Robert Edwards, it's tough to get in the lineup, but we'll see more and more Diedrich. Important game for the Montreal Alouettes, so you can't emphasize that enough. They've lost 2 in a row and not lost this year at home.
Last time they lost 3 straight, Glenn Suter, was back in 2004 in October.
Yeah.
Calvillo spinning and turning and firing. And Terrence Edwards brings it close to a first down, the brother of Robert.
Now, one thing is that they're a good fourth quarter team, so this game is far from over, but important game. 1 loss happens, to every team. 1 loss happens. You get to 2 losses, there's a concern. There's major concern in 2 losses. 3 losses becomes an ugly trend, and at 4 losses in a row, changes are starting to be made in the organization, in the personnel, and everything else. So that's the importance of this game after Montreal losing 2 straight.
Fumble. Does Calgary have it? Yes, they do. Sheldon Napastuk has the fumble, and A turnover the other way with 51 seconds left in the third. Montreal, Robert Edwards coughs it up.
In the shotgun, a little bit of a shotgun draw, and it looks like Anthony Calvillo tried to pull it out of there. Now, often the quarterback has the option to put it in the stomach of the running back, but still hold on to it for a second, because if he sees the open end, he can pull it out. Robert Edwards thought he was going to give it to him, kind of squeezed the football. When Anthony Calvillo tried to pull it out of there, it ends up on the ground.
Last time a turnover in this game occurred late in the second quarter. Montreal benefited, took it into the end zone and gained momentum. Stampeders have the mole right now. Burris to Copeland again.
Oh boy. Now Henry Burris is back on track. He had a problem after the interception. There were about 6-7 throws in a row that he looked hesitant and was having problems, but he is back. That throw to the outside to Jermaine Copeland, that's on one hash mark, folks. He's on the left hash. He's just inside the left hash. That is a 55-yard throw to get it to that sideline over top of the defender, Clint Kent, and drop it right into the hands of Jermaine Copeland. That is a very tough throw to make. He made it look easy.
15 seconds left in the quarter. Play action. And again for the end zone. Looking for Wes Cates down there. Cates felt he got run into, but in fact may have just run into a stone wall himself.
Well, David Sanchez was coming across. Watch Wes Cates here. David Sanchez coming across looking at the football. First of all, I don't think the ball was catchable. And Sanchez was trying to get to his man, who was Elijah Thurman, and Cates basically ran into him. And I like that there's no flag on that play. I know Wes Cates wants one, but that wasn't deliberate interference on anybody.
Another biggie here, 2nd and 10. It could be the final play of the third quarter.
Here they come.
Burris to the end zone. And there is a flag on the play.
See what this is, because that was send the kitchen sink at Henry Burris.
Offside. Calgary number 80. A penalty decline. 3rd down, and the quarter's over.
Looked like Copeland took a quick start there. Jermaine Copeland, though, has given his team the lead. Will change hands and come back for the 4th quarter. Hang in there, folks. This is a good one. We may not have a few more yet here tonight. This has been a highly entertaining football game. A lot of big plays, trick plays, some good defense as well. The only thing that the Alouettes really haven't been able to establish is the ground game. That was supposed to be the thing that was going to determine this game tonight.
Yeah, and if they slip further behind, they're going to have to go more to the air, so we won't see it at all. But I have loved and enjoyed these trick plays tonight.
Sandro DeAngelis from the 30 for a 10-point lead. Kickers have had a perfect night here tonight as well. What else? 30-20 now for the Stampeders on Wendy's CFL on TSN. This guy's kind of been the talk of the league this year, and the kickers don't often get a lot of the talk, but DeAngelis has been an all-star.
Oh, and without question, I mean, only one field goal inside of 40 has he missed all season. Those are his misses, all upwards over 40. Just that 29-yarder really the only blemish there. If you're perfect inside of 40 and then make at least half of your long ones, that's great numbers, and he's above that.
Had a lot of heroics, some post field goal celebrations as well,
and he executed that onside kick perfectly.
Quite a year so far for DeAngelis, and a good night too for Damon Duvall. The kickers 7 for 7. Duvall 4 for 4 tonight. DeAngelis 3 for 3. Last time these two teams played, Sandro won it with 2 field goals in the final 2 minutes, including the sealer.
He added a yard for the winning kick. I mean, for the tying kick, it was 52. For the winner, he said, well, you know, I can back it up.
He's got to come out of his shell a little more, do you think?
Yeah, that little dancing scene made it on a lot of television programs.
And the one earlier this year, the soccer celebration when he took his team into the locker room and they beat Hamilton. Calvillo in trouble here. Ball's in the air and was up for grabs, but Anthony Calvillo goes down. And he knew he had to throw it away. Scott Coe in on the play.
You know, a 34 defense is so difficult for the offensive line. I talked to Zumo KK yesterday in practice about how you have to pick up the stunts. I mean, watch the offensive line. There's the 5 of them. Go ahead and run it, guys. And then you got now who's going to come from where? And it's always a guessing game. Which one of those linebackers is going to come on the blitz and which one is going to drop into coverage? And in a 34, Denny Crehan's defense is the toughest to figure that out on passing down.
4 receivers to his right. Calvillo had Robert Edwards open and is brought down for the sack. Cornelius Anthony with the sack. Zumo KK knows it's tough to play against the 3-4.
They can do different things to mix up your blocking scheme. And if you're not, it can be challenging than a regular, 4-3, which the down linemen are on the line of scrimmage. So 3-4 is a little bit more challenging, makes you think a little bit more, and that's a challenge that they can bring by bringing pressure from different places.
Well, that was 2 plays in a row when they had pressure and forced Montreal to punt again.
Towering kick. Ruffin touched it. The ball's up for grabs. And brought down, bowled over. J.R. Ruffin is lucky to have the football in his hands right now. 13:34 to go in the 4th. 10 points, Stampeder lead. Turned by Ruffin. Burris in the flat here. Guy who's been a factor and a force for the Stampeders, Wes Cates.
It really has seen a little bit of all the action on the special teams, but we've seen him in offense, and he's had a big run in the first half to set up a touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders. 66 yards rushing and some receiving yards to go along with it. That just a little hitch pass out to the right side of their formation.
2nd and short yardage.
What's the pass?
Burris right behind center. Plows through. This might be a time for ball control right now and try to eat the clock like Calgary did in that 2nd quarter so effectively. But Cates has been very effective here.
Here's a little example of some Wes Cates, and a guy that is a name that we haven't talked about a bunch this year, but got that one outside. That set up a score. Here he goes on this reverse. This is when he tightrope walks the sideline right here. And he picks up big yards after everyone thought he was out of bounds. That's the 2nd effort that the Calgary Stampeders are getting out of Wes Cates tonight.
1st and 10. Over the middle. Nick Lewis, his 2nd catch, and he has half the first down yardage. Former Rookie of the Year 2 years ago for the Calgary Stampeders, the brash Nick Lewis.
You mentioned J.R. Ruffin on that punt. He almost had the ball hit the ground. I mean, he did hit the ground. He almost lost it. That's the type of thing that gives Anthony Calvillo that momentum back. Remember that interception that Henry Burris threw? Changed things, and Montreal took a quick lead. They took quick momentum. Calgary's reeling. Now it's Calgary again, controlling the clock, they're moving the football up and down the field, kicking field goals. Calvillo sitting right on the bench. Can't hurt you over there.
That's what you want. You're the Stampeders. Burris with some time unloads. Once again, Rambo is brought down. Chip Cox pulls him down, but there is a flag. The 50-yard line. We'll have to see what this is.
It'll be interesting. It was crossing routes over the middle, and I was wondering if there's going to be a pick call. There's crossing routes coming like that over the middle. That's Kenyon Rambo coming across.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 80.
Yeah, I thought
10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
That's what I thought it was. On the backside of that formation, Jermaine Copeland was coming across, and he was setting the pick for Kenyon Rambo coming underneath, and for Nick Lewis. So here he comes. There's Copeland. See, that he took a step to get to Davis Sanchez and knock him off. And it's one thing to create a rub. If you get a rub on offense, then that's a legal play. but there's a fine line between a rub and a pick, and that was a pick.
Sends the Stampeders back for this second down play. 2nd and 14 now. Copeland has been the guy that he's gone to in this situation. Fake the shovel. And what a catch by Elijah Thurman. Oh, what a catch.
And how about Henry Burris with that little shovel fake just to buy himself an extra second to throw the football, and then throws a strike to Elijah Thurman. This is Anwar Stewart on the outside again. This has been a one-on-one that they've been in a couple of times. Anwar Stewart made an early play, but that little flick of the wrist, that froze Anwar Stewart just for long enough, and Henry Burris delivers a strike to Thurman.
And again, time possession, ball possession, huge here. Stampeders taking valuable seconds off the clock with a 10-point lead. Playing a perfect road game here. Penalty flag. Carey in on the blitz. Thurman again. And there is a flag on the play.
Well, that
by Thurman.
The flag down by Thurman and Davis Sanchez will be pass interference on Davis Sanchez. The flag at the line of scrimmage looks like it's either a procedure or offside. We'll see what happens there. But Sanchez made contact on Thurman just as he was going to catch the ball, and I believe that'll be pass interference.
They might both go against Montreal.
Here, let's take a look here. First of all, here's Thurman. Now, he's going to come back to the football. He's got, see, there's the contact. That's pass interference.
Montreal, that penalty's declined. Pass interference. Montreal number 2, the penalty's accepted. First down.
Boy, this could be a killer shot coming up here for the Stampeders. Again, lots of time left, but if they can find the end zone, they may have an insurmountable lead.
Well, this football team to start the season, everyone knew they had talent. They got off to a bit of a bumpy start, and there was tons of questions, but that talent is starting to pick it up.
Burris rolls with time to the goal line, laying out. Cannot find Marcus Howell.
Burris gets to the outside here. Joffrey Reynolds is going to make a block that allows Burris to even have a chance on this play. Now, he's not going to complete, but watch, there's Reynolds there, number 21. He's going to cut back. He's going to, right there. Look at that hit right there. That gets Burris to the corner. That's a big block, and I think it's Ed Fillion to the outside. And he doesn't complete it, but he is sacked for a loss if he doesn't get that block from Joffrey Reynolds.
Well, the Alouette defense has to hold here, and the Stampeders know they could put the Owls in a big hole if they can convert this first down.
Confusion from the Alouettes.
To the end zone again, looking for Lewis, and overthrown.
Chip Cox is the rookie in this lineup, and before the snap of the ball, he got him lined up right. And it didn't look like the Montreal Alouettes had the proper alignment, and Cox comes over there and just gets on Nick Lewis in time, or Burris has a touchdown throw.
So now Sandro DeAngelis can match the 4 field goals made by Damon Duvall here tonight. DeAngelis has made from 19, 20, and 31 really chip shots for him, and another one from the 27. And the left hash mark. Kick is up and through. Boy, these guys are automatic tonight. Back at Molson Stadium in Montreal, the Alouettes in danger of losing their 3rd straight game after winning 7 in a row.
Boy, they dodged a big bullet on that last possession, and that's been time of possession dominated by Calgary.
Full 11 minutes more tonight with the ball. Calvillo in trouble. Lets it go, though.
Rod, let's go back to that last play that just before Sandro DeAngelis kicks a field goal. Look at this. First of all, I want to show you Ricky Bell here. And look at Chip Cox here. They're not lined up right. Okay, on that play to Nick Lewis. Now they figure it out, and they go and line up properly. And on the opposite side of the formation, Henry Burris had a wide open Jermaine Copeland. So the play works out there for Montreal. But it didn't work out because this is the bullet that the Montreal Alouettes dodged there. First they get Chip Cox over there to Nick Lewis barely, and then watch Copeland here. Copeland right down here, watch him. On that very same play, he comes down, goes inside, and then he's wide open for a touchdown, and Burris didn't see him. So
Alouettes with a hurry-up offense now, trying to save some time on the clock. Again, Calvillo has to hurl it on the sidelines. And the catch is made by running back Robert Edwards, playing receiver now.
And now Anthony Calvillo in the hurry-up. He's got to change the pace, and he's using his legs. He's moving around in the pocket. He's stepping up into the pocket. A little more active from that position rather than being a pocket passer.
And again, they will quickly go to the line. They don't have to be told that they have to stay on the field a lot more here to get back in this game. Touchdown makes it a lot closer, of course. They're down 13. Play action again. Calvillo wide open, and no! Thyron Anderson had 6 points right there, and Calvillo could not hit him.
It was an obvious one because it's Thyron Anderson in a one-on-one, and Calvillo, look at this. He knows he's got this matchup right here. That's a one-on-one with no safety help over here. So that's where Calvillo's going with the football. Now, out and up down the sideline, and look at how open Thyron Anderson is. The ball's in his hands. That's drop number 2 on the season for Thyron Anderson. The first one was last week. He told me about. That's number 2.
Second down and 10 yards. And that one looked like a bit of miscommunication on that route.
Well, Ben Cahoon, who often will have an option route, meaning he can either go in or out depending on what he sees defensively, and they are on such the same page and have been for so many years that Calvillo, 99 out of 100, knows exactly which direction he's going to go. That time he didn't. That was the one time out of 100.
So Damon Duvall sets up for this field goal. This from the 50-yard line, 4 for 4, like DeAngelis tonight. His longest of the season from the 47. Actually from the 49-yard line, made it earlier tonight, so around this range. The wind is with him. Kick is up. And what a night for the kickers here in Montreal. Duvall leads 5-4. The Stamps lead by 10. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and available in TSN HD. 7.5 minutes to go. 10-point Calgary Stampeder lead as the Stamps try to make it 2 in a row over the Alouettes and hand the Owls their 3rd consecutive loss.
Denny Crehan mentioned to me that they take a little bit defensively from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's interesting. We have Miami-Pittsburgh, and just tonight I was talking to Denny Crehan about his defense. He said, you know, we take a little bit of what the Pittsburgh Steelers do and we adapt it to Canadian football. Everyone is always borrowing and stealing ideas, and that's the key to having success. And in fact, Denny Crehan mentioned to me, said, you know, I owe Matt Dunnigan a lot of thanks because he's the guy who brought me in. He wanted to run the 34, and they've been running it ever since.
Running it effectively tonight against the Alouettes. Burris has to scramble. No one there. And will take off with it. And room. Burris steps out of bounds. Actually takes the little slide for a big gain here. About 16, 17 yards.
How about the little matchup that's been going on between Henry Burris and Anwar Stewart on the outside? Early on, Anwar Stewart had a similar situation in the first quarter down by the goal line. Got Burris and tackled him in the open field, and now since then Burris has changed his game plan, and here comes Anwar Stewart. Now this time he has to fight off Jeff Peel on get outside, but tries to chase him down. But that's been an interesting matchup. Anwar Stewart and Henry Burris on the outside.
Surprised he slid there. Get out of bounds. First and 10. Burris
have been the bullet. Henry Burris throws a bullet, and he catches Richard Carey in a bad angle from the safety position, and threads the needle between the two of them. Darryl Crutchfield in one-on-one. He's on the outside shoulder, playing it perfectly because he knows he's got safety out from the middle, and the safety takes it underneath angle. Richard Carey. The ball is thrown perfectly. Yep. Baby. What a throw from Henry Burris to after a couple bad ones after the interception's been back on track in the fourth quarter. And see, you know, if you put both in earlier for the Rogers thought of Burris. You have to seriously consider him right now. He's playing the game. He is the player of the game. And the votes could go anyway, but tell you what he has come back and shown such great composure with some good throws. He's avoided the rush. He's given ground. I think Chuck Klein, we talked about it halftime. He's avoiding the rush by backing away and getting away from Manwar Stewart. Getting outside. Moving around. But his throw been on the money. $40, 23. 17 point lead unless the Alouettes can score quickly. This one is over. Watch Richard Carey. He's going to slide down. First he gets caught. Too shallow. Now he's got to try and panic, get to that middle. Now watch his angle. His angle is flat rather than on an angle to intersect receiver football. His angle is more in this direction. He comes too flat across the ball. He cuts off Darryl Crutchfield. Goodbye.
Johnny Rogers there. Back into the end zone. The former Alouette great. There's Danny back. Danny McManus. You see Danny McManus is, you know what he said there? Perfect. We drew it up that way. That was perfect. Stampeders. Have really been perfect in second half. The Alouettes have been known as a team that's a second half football team, but they have been outplayed, outscored. The visitors, the invaders from the west. The outside is
The Montreal Alouettes often are around in playoff time, and when we're talking Grey Cups, they've been around in a few of those too.
now they must strike quickly. Sideline. That's another big gainer, so they'll have to find the end zone somehow right here. Again, down is 17. And it's a lot of time in the CFL, and Byron Anderson is hurt here. That's not going to help the Alouettes. He's going back to the huddle, though.
He's trying to get back there. He caught that ball down the sideline, made a secure catch. And he may have got hit in an area where we're not supposed to talk about it.
I think you just did.
At least he got back to the huddle.
It's like he's shaking it off now, and 4 minutes to go.
Plenty of time. There is plenty of time. And you're talking about one of the masters right there in Anthony Calvillo at the hurry-up offense. They score quickly here, and this one's not over yet.
You know who we haven't heard from lately? Ben Cahoon.
How about now?
Guess what? This is Cahoon time. We talk about Tucker time in Edmonton. This is Cahoon time.
Yeah, Tucker time is more down in an area of the field, but when Cahoon, when the Alouettes need a couple of catches quickly, they go to Cahoon because he's such a great route runner. They know he'll get open. Whether it be zone or man, no matter what the defense, don't mess around. Go to 86. He'll be open.
Calvillo stands in. Cahoon diving. And Cahoon had 6 catches in the first half, only 2 here in the second, and a big down coming up. 3.5 minutes still. The Alouettes offense has certainly sputtered, though, in the last few weeks. And, you know, they haven't really talked a whole lot about trouble here in Montreal after the Calgary win. It was a big win for the Stampeders. Last week they did. It was an awful night for Calvillo, but if they lose here tonight, they'll be talking about trouble in Montreal. Calvillo has to scramble. He'll take off. Free lane. Goes outside. And has the first down.
It was Zuma Okeke doing a job on the corner there to get Anthony Calvillo outside. We had Okeke, who's very well spoken amongst offensive linemen in the league, and he's outside guy here, and he's going to do everything in his power to hold. Watch the outside. Raheem Abdullah. First of all, he seals it. Now he's coming back, and here comes Big OKK. There's another hit, just so Raheem Abdullah can't get there.
That's why he's a 7-time All-Star. 3-minute warning. 3 minutes to go. The Alouettes down 17. Final 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. Anthony Calvillo and the Montreal Alouettes down 17. Have to score here. High pass taken away by Kobe Reinhardt. That is it.
You know, that has been when Calvillo has struggled over the last couple of games. It's been because the ball is coming out high on him. And I'm not sure about the mechanics of it, but you're going to see here where it's going to happen on the outside. And watch the ball sail a little bit. Cahoon has to climb the ladder, and he gets up in there, and he's messing with it, and that's when Reinhardt comes over the top and takes it away. And some high throws early in the game cost him some deep ones, but another high throw, and this time Calgary takes it.
And we'll take the victory here. It looks like for sure 2:48. Stampeders.
You know, I've said that before, Rod.
I know, I better not. And Calgary was playing, I think it was Winnipeg game. Remember that one we did a couple of years ago?
Yeah, and I did it this year in an Edmonton-Winnipeg game. Danny Mack in the game now.
Danny McManus in.
But you know, a lot of people were saying the game was over in Edmonton when the Bombers were playing there, and Milt Stegall said, wait a minute, I got one more play. Went 100 yards with it. So
thing is that the Stampeders in this second half just seem to find an extra gear, and this is a very good football club. Calgary Stampeders have shown certainly the last two games against the Montreal Alouettes, the previously formidable Alouettes, who have looked like they have some weaknesses now. And we haven't been able to say that a lot about Montreal in the past.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Their head coach, the Calgary Stampeders head coach, out-coached the Montreal Alouettes head coach tonight.
The whole coaching staff.
Because those trick plays completely fooled the Montreal Alouettes. Worked almost to perfection all the way across the board for Calgary, with the exception of the one that was called back.
They were almost able to do what they wanted to do offensively all night long. And Henry Burris, after the interception, piled up 3 touchdowns on the board.
Well, and that's the key. I mean, they've got great play out of their quarterback in Henry Burris, with the exception of that one little slump that he had in the middle of this game after the interception. He showed great composure to come back, and they've got great play out of their kicker when he's been asked, and there's a smile.
This one is over.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet, and by General Motors of Canada and all its divisions.
You're right. There's the player of the game right there.
Nicole, love you guys. Can't wait to see you. We did it again, baby. Love you guys. Hey, Calgary, here we come.
Yeah, here they come. But isn't this a strange schedule for the Stampeders? 1 game in 24 days, had 12 days off here, and get ready now for Danny Machocha and the Edmonton Eskimos and the Labor Day clashes.
Yeah, big couple of games there. Labor Day always huge, but the Calgary Stampeders are hitting their stride when they really want to. See, now they got the win versus Montreal. They play Montreal. Let's say they get the win here.
You're a little tentative now when you're
well.
plays out of this game. Green comes in. 1 interception only tonight, but this team is flatlining. They have done this in the past, like you said, see you in October, maybe see you in November. But they've got to sort some things out here. This looks like an offense that still is very much out of sync.
It is, and I'm going to go back to the Robert Edwards factor. We didn't see a steady diet of him. It almost looked like early on that Calvillo wanted to throw his way out of the slump. But in fairness to Calvillo, he has set the bar so high for himself with 4 5,000 yard seasons that to see Antti Calvillo throw for under 300 in a game that he just didn't seem to have that touch. I mean, he threw some nice ones. That Dave Stala throw in the corner, that was a Calvillo throw, but we expect that from him every throw. And when he throws some high ones that are intercepted and he overthrows long open receivers, you go, is he okay? Is this offense okay?
Green with 4 receivers to his left. Milan Green, the former Rough Rider and Eskimo, and Reinhardt has his 2nd interception. Last minute, and the Calgary Stampeders are doing it to the Alouettes in Molson Stadium again. Last time the Owls lost in this stadium was last year, a year ago, to Calgary.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. By Rona, proud league-wide sponsor of the CFL. And by Rogers Wireless. Rogers brings you the latest MP3 phones.
In fact, almost exactly 1 year ago.
Yep. Full credit to the Calgary Stampeders, and that's what happened tonight. It wasn't so much, sure, the Montreal Alouettes offense is struggling a bit, but it wasn't so much that they struggled. The Calgary Stampeders won this game. They came in, they dominated time of possession. They had some trick plays that worked well. Some plays on the special teams, a fake field goal, a fake punt. They had a reverse, they had an onside kick. They came in, they pulled out all the stops, played great on defense. And because of that, they can do a little dancing in Montreal tonight.
And maybe what we're seeing, that precursor that everybody talked about, the Alouettes and their 7-0 start, and some people said that start may be a little misleading, that record.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, are the Alouettes as good as a 7-0 team? And I would think that Don Matthews would concur right now that they are not.
Well, that's a good question, because the Hamilton Tiger Cats certainly have struggled this year, and 3 of the 7 wins in that run were against Hamilton. So were they as good as 7-0?
Coming up next, highlights from this game and around Major League Baseball. Lots of stories on their way to you. Darren Detition, Jennifer Hedger. We'll send it back to Sports Center.
Good play out of your quarterback, good play out of your kickers. And control the football, don't turn it over. The one turnover looked like it was going to be costly in a big way for Henry Burris, but the defense responded. They came back in after that first half was over in the second half, and then Burris lit it up in the fourth quarter.
How about the night the kickers had? Lost in the touchdown explosion as well in the second half. A perfect night for the 2 best kickers right now in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been a trend that we've been watching in the Canadian Football League for a lot of kickers. Paul McCallum's having a great year.
When I say best kickers, I don't want to,
Noel Prefontaine.
I don't want to offend any of them, but I'm talking about the top 2 point getters right now.
Yeah, you got to mention them, though, or else they get upset.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's mention them all. Don't mess with a kicker.
Yeah, they'll get upset. Troy Westwood's in there, Sean Fleming.
They're all great guys.
The kickers are on track this year, and that's good to see.
Could be the final play of this game. Burke Dales. Coburn. And one more point will go on the board. And this one is over. And it was over in the fourth quarter when the Calgary Stampeders turned it on and turned out the lights on the Montreal Alouettes, who have now lost 3 in a row. The Stamps do it to them again, 41-23 in Montreal. Dave?
Thanks, Rod. Time out for the TSN Turning Point. This came out in the third quarter. It's the former Alouette, Jermaine Copeland. This game was 20-20 at one point. This one made it 27-20 Calgary, and they never looked back, and they gave us, well, one of the most inventive touchdown celebrations we've seen.